Mic check. 1, 2. Is this working? All right, I think it's working. All right. Finally got things working. Some reason my Bluetooth decided to stop working on my computer. It's working. Awesome. All right. Yeah, just randomly my Bluetooth was like, hey, we're not going to connect to anything anymore. Hello. I'm actually finishing up my dinner right now. I'm just going to have 2 more bites while I'm getting ready. How's everyone doing tonight? Hey, Laura, how are you doing? Do you prefer Laura or do you prefer Des, by the way? By the way, in case anyone's curious, this right here, this is just a drawing board, one of those that you can buy for like taking to art class to, for newsprint for charcoal drawings. Yeah. Let's see. Laura's my real name. Des is the one I use in games and on Twitch. Doesn't matter which is used. Answer to both. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, Leon's my real name too, and I sometimes wonder if I made the right decision, like, using my real name as my online name and everything. And don't get me wrong, it's easy enough to create like fake accounts if I want a private account, but there's still a degree of separation if I were to use a fake name versus my real name. But like a lot of artists, not saying all, but a lot of artists use their real name. That's, you know, I mean, some don't, of course. Some have like a stage name or a fake name or something. But as far as like painters go, I think most use their real name. It's very common, at least as far as I know. So that's why I ended up just going with my real name. That and it's a very unique name that makes it easy Makes me easy to find online. So I actually did it last night, or wait, was it? I don't remember. Last night or today? I put my palette in my what's it called? Air sealed container to keep it fresh. So I was responsible finally, at least a little bit. Yeah, my daughter said that all the platforms should have the same name if you're branding yourself. So I'm all messed up. Yeah, well, so I had to take Liad G because there's a few people who have the name Leah and their last name starts with a D, so they grabbed on certain social networks, they grabbed Liad, not because that's their name, it's a combination. So that's why I added the G for a lot of them. But Liad is, like I said, if you can spell my name, which is a big if, because a lot of people can't, but if you can, you'll find me. So sometimes it's with a G, sometimes it's without the G. It just depends on which when I got it. So although I think on YouTube it's with my actual last name too, which I'm thinking of changing. We'll see. Either way, it's close enough that I think it's like easy to figure out in my case. Until I start getting, you know, fake accounts and pretending to be me. Yeah. So the painting's obviously still wet, given that I worked on it yesterday. So I'm not going to need to oil out today. Do need to do need to tape down that corner. So the tape I'm using is artist tape, and it is not strong enough because it's designed to be removable. It's not that sticky, and so the corners of this, unfortunately, I'm going to have to tape down, which I don't like doing because then I have tape on top of it, but I don't have an option because they're coming up right now. Got to keep it to a minimum though. So now I'm uh, I'm out of it starting today. I mean, starting on the painting today. I need to go in and do some minor corrections here and there. Stuff shifted around as it always does. And then I will get into modeling out. I'll probably focus on the figure more than anything because I don't know. The background is like this photo was taken in someone's room, and it's a little no, like I just don't care that there's like, there's a chair here and a pillow and like some CD cases. Like I don't care. Like this stuff that I want it. I don't want to not put any of it in, but I'm not going to go too detailed into it. Not like I will on the figure, at least. Excuse me for a second. Allergies. I'm desperately trying to get my energy up today, but it is a struggle. It is an uphill battle today. Yeah. I uh I went in for allergy shots today. I'm doing that, hoping that, I can deal with my allergies a little better. And it is just wearing me down at the moment. So if I seem out of it, I apologize in advance. So I have my photo, sorry, I have my photo reference and my painting and a photo of my painting overlaid on each other on my computer monitor here. And I'm just using it as a way to see where things, need to be placed. I can't actually uh I can't actually paint like this. I can only I can only use it for placement because I can't properly see the colors and everything of my reference. So I can only, like I said, I can only use it for placement. So that's why what I do is I go through the painting, get all my placement of everything where I want it, any markings I feel like I need, just so that I know to pay attention when I paint that. and then I just look at the reference afterwards and keep painting that way. You don't have to have Photoshop to do this. I do use Photoshop because I need it for work, but there's a lot of programs that are capable of uh, doing this. So if anyone like is intimidated by Photoshop or doesn't want to buy Photoshop, which I think I would never advocate pirating Adobe software, even though they have no problem using AI to undercut um, their own people that use their own marketplace to produce what's it called? Uh, to produce photos for their stock image library, even though they use those images to create an AI to undercut those same people. I would never advocate that you pirate Photoshop, but I know some people do that. Um, but there are other programs out there that are cheaper. Some are free. Krita is free. It's open source and free. It's not exactly a photo editing program, but it's capable of doing this. Hey Elijah, welcome. How you doing? This chroma is very cool. Oh, thank you. I mean, I wish I could take total credit for it, but I can't. Uh, well, I mean, sort of, I guess. And obviously I'm painting it. But this is the homework for the class that I'm doing with Nicholas Uribe. So this is one of the exercises. So he didn't dictate this photo, or basically it just has to be a painting that's black and white and red. Those are the only three colors we can use. So that's it. How am I doing? Um Hold on. My hand, I missed a few things. Elijah says my hands are dyed purple. Bad decisions were made today. Oh no. Hopefully it goes away quickly, or you can figure out a way of getting it off of you. One thing that takes off certain paints that I wouldn't have thought, or certain dyes, is rubbing alcohol. By the way, um, and yeah, um, I'm okay. I might be very low energy today. I can't really tell anymore. I went in for allergy shots, and I've just been struggling to function today. Alcohol, I wish I had some. Well, I don't mean that. I mean rubbing alcohol, not like getting drunk alcohol. Yeah, shots. Yeah. It just wears me out sometimes. Like, just saps all my energy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm complaining, but it is a relatively mild thing overall. I'm just out of it. It's not bad, It's just tired. Like, that's it. It's not. I know people have gone through way worse. I don't want to, I want to put it in proportions here, but yeah, just this makes me tired and out of it. I mean, I've already had a bunch of caffeine and even some uh medicated stimulants, and I'm still out of it. So, Hey Don Lee, welcome. Good to see you. Ooh, hair dye. Um, I'm pretty sure the only way to get rid of hair dye is fire. I'm pretty sure that's it. It has some other consequences, unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know how else you get rid of hair dye stains. Hey, Don Lee. By the way, Don Leo is a fellow streamer. He streams on Twitch under the name Don Leo. That's Don Lee, one word, underscore O with three H's. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Just be aware that if you burn your hands, you're also going to burn your hands. So, it's kind of a disadvantage as well. Like, you probably won't care about the dye at that point, but like, fire also works on glitter. Depends. Some glitter is metal. or glass. Some glitter is actually there's some glitter that's metal and some glitter that's actual glass, like real glass. Don't work as well on those. I mean, eventually it works, but you know, I have to get the heat up there a bit. If you're wondering what glitter is glass, uh, what's his name? I can't remember his name. I'm thinking of a name, but I don't think that's actually his name. It's the guy that made like the pinkest pink and black 3.0. He made a glitter that's actually just glass, like shards of glass. You're gonna try toothpaste. Interesting. Okay. You could turn your hands into charcoal to draw with. Um, you might lose some fine motor skills, you know. It might not be worth it. Uh, Donley says, I'm busy watching some Krita brush demos. Lost Pixel dropped some links for me to check out in last stream. Very cool. So, oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I was just talking about Photoshop and Krita a few minutes ago. I was just saying that Krita is a free version that a free program that can allow you to overlay your reference uh, and your painting on top of each other digitally to see you know where to put things in the paint. Because I use Photoshop because of work, um, but you know there are free versions of and free programs that can do a lot of the same stuff. Loss of motor skills in the hands, but that could ensure that you're drawing from the shoulder. True. Laura says, I think all three of us use Krita. I don't use Krita, but I support Krita. It's one of those programs where it's like on what's it called? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I support Krita. I think I've tried it. I've used it. I don't use it though. I don't think I even have it installed on my current computer. But I do support it and I think more people should use it. I use Photoshop because of my work, and Photoshop is has certain tools that like Krita and a lot of the other competition don't, but they're tools that most people don't need. I need them, but most people don't. So, um, yeah. And I'm not the biggest Adobe fan. Like, I'm not a fanboy of Adobe. I'm actually kind of upset with the company in general, you know. So, Stanley is saying, I'm getting more and more impressed with Krita's extremely competent replacement for Photoshop. Um, which, as you know, I used for years. Yeah, it's. I would say, from what I can tell, Krita is a great replacement for Photoshop if what you're doing with it is artwork. I'll put it that way. Um, yeah, I think it's great. Laura says I should take advantage of its recording features, put YouTube videos up, but I haven't yet. Absolutely. I think that's one of the killer features. I man, I would be a much bigger Krita user if they had that years ago when I was more when I did a lot more digital work, personal work. I would have, like, I would be a Krita user today if that was around like 5 years ago. Like, literally, I think the only reason I even tried to, like, only reason I started using Procreate was because of that feature. Dunley says yes for artwork. Photo editing, less so, but I just stumbled across some very interesting tools for photo manipulation. So, from what I can tell, I'm sure you can use it for photo editing, but there's a difference between, you know, photo editing for yourself and photo editing for, like, work, right? And I do freelance photo retouching and stuff like that in the past. Um, yeah. Elijah says I tried toothpaste. Uh, I tried and toothpaste burns. It worked a little though. Well, that makes sense. It burns just like fire, just not as much. So that way, see, it's all tracking. So right now, in case anyone, if I haven't, like, kept up on what I'm doing, I'm just sketching in my, or marking certain locations of things using my photo reference and a photo of my painting, just so I know where to put things. That's all I'm doing at the moment. So actually, while I'm doing this, I know I don't talk about, or I try not to talk about AI stuff too much in my live streams because I would talk about it every single time and it would just be exhausting. I already find dealing with it exhausting. But there's a few things I want to bring up, some news and some issues, and then I'll let it go. Because, like I said, I'm not looking to get into a debate. If anyone's watching this right now or after the fact, and you're like, "Oh, I'm all for AI art," and you don't know what you're talking about, that's cool. Go away. I don't care. I'm I don't care about your opinion. I've made up my mind on this. I've listened to experts. I don't care about trolls. Go away. for anyone who's an artist who is curious about it. So here's some things. Nightshade is out. In case you're AI issues and news. Okay, yeah. So Nightshade is out. You can download it. Soon they will have a web portal as well. Nightshade is made by the people who made Glaze. That is the program that lets you encode your images so that they contribute to poisoning the well for the unauthorized scraping and usage of your images in machine learning. So just so you know, it's by a research group at the University of Chicago. You can go and download it for free. Soon they'll have a web portal, and soon they'll have a combined program that does both Nightshade and Glaze together. But just thought I'd let you know. And you don't have to use it just on your artwork, by the way, because the people that do all this crap, they take people's photos, your personal photos, your likeness, all that stuff, and they use that for machine learning as well, for their image generation. So you can also do this on your personal photos, on anything you put on, any photos you put online. And it only poisons, in case anyone's curious, it only poisons machine learning algorithms that are trying to do generative AI. That's the type of algorithms it poisons. Wait, what? Was that like a double negative? I'm trying to understand. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean by double negative. Yeah, not sure. Donnelly says link to Nightshade in my Discord, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Also a link to it in my on my Twitter. I've linked it on Twitter. So yeah. So that's cool. I think that's cool news. I'm a fan. And then since I talked about Adobe and I already mentioned this a little earlier, but I'm going to be a little clearer because I was kind of like joking around at the time. So I want to just clarify. Adobe created their own generative AI program, and they supposedly used what's it called? They supposedly used like proper, or what's the word I'm looking for? Ethical. That's the word I'm looking for. Ethical, references. Turns out they didn't. They used one of the things they used was their marketplace of stock images, but their stock image web marketplace is a marketplace. So individuals would create images or license out images specifically for that. And they would, if people used their stock images, those people would get paid. So what Adobe did was they used that huge library to make their generative AI program. And that essentially cuts out the need to use those stock images. And in fact, there's a few people I know who, or at least one person I know, I don't want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Hyperbolic. There's one person I know online who had a whole team of people. That's what they used to do. They made stock images, and he had to shut down his business because of that. Basically, there's like no way he could make money from doing that anymore. So yeah. So not the biggest fan of Adobe's behavior. Just gonna put that out there. I think it's kind of shitty, you know? But hey, maybe that's just me. Maybe everybody else thinks, nah, that's totally cool. But yeah, I think it's shitty. Anyways, that's it. And that's all the AI stuff I want to get into today. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into it. It's exhausting, honestly. And it's nonstop. It's all the time. And I'm tired. Adobe. Yeah. Yeah. And to answer your question about the red, as far as did I have to pick this red? I didn't have to pick this red. I could have used a different red. It was this was the red that was suggested, but I could have used my cooler rose red if I wanted to. But I thought this would be a nice I thought this would be a nice color to use. I'm not against these colors. I've used this is a Cad Red Light. I've used Cad Red Light before. It used to be in my palette actually. Used to be a mainstay in my palette. It's a great color. It's just it's not as versatile as my quinacridone rose. I should add some nightshade images into Adobe Library since you still pay for it. I don't know if I can do that. If I can upload image, I don't know if I can upload images to their. I don't know how that works. I've never tried to contribute to their stock images. By the way, their stock images now is full, and I mean just like full of AI images as well. Not their AI images. People have generated images through like Stable Diffusion and like put that into their stock images. It's actually become quite a problem for them and will continue to be a problem for them. All right, now let's get into this a little more. Oh, wait a second. Let's do a quick just pop. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, I find the whole thing exhausting. But if people want to keep up on top of this, by the way, follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty well, I'm not the most active on Twitter, but I do keep somewhat active there and I do post about AI stuff a lot there. Like okay. When I post, I use Instagram more for posting my images. Um, I haven't posted in forever. Um, you know, but when but for Twitter, I do post. I do a lot of reposting because I follow a lot of people who are involved in this stuff. So if people want to want more information about that type of thing, you're welcome to follow me on Twitter. Don Lee as well, if I'm not mistaken, keeps pretty on top of some of this stuff too. So yeah, it's exhausting. So you post Don Lee says I posted your Twitter on your Twitch chat. Yeah, thanks. My Twitter should be in the chat. Oh, you're right. You did. Thank you. Twitter should also be in a link to my Twitter should be in the description on YouTube, by the way. All my socials should be on in the description, so that should be there. All right. And it's a lot easier to talk to people online. Well, okay, so there's my Discord, of course. It's easy. It's a lot easier to talk to me on Discord just because Discord's designed for conversations like that, like long form conversations. But if you want to engage not long form conversations for some reason, but still want to engage, probably Twitter is the second best place. Instagram is not great for conversations. I do appreciate comments on my posts because my understanding is that helps with the algorithm, but and I do appreciate hearing from people, but it's not exactly like the best for like back and forths, you know. But I understand also if people have an aversion to Twitter for numerous reasons. I get that. I do have a Blue Sky account, but like I honestly I want to use it more, but I don't use it. I'll be honest. I should, but I don't. I don't know about you guys. Uh you all, everybody basically. Also people watching after the fact. I struggle to keep up to date with all my social networks. Like it is I find it very, very not just challenging and practically impossible. Donley says, I'm working on some things, so please forgive me if I miss you saying something to me. Hey, no worries, Donley. Now's my chance. So, here's all the dirt on Donley, guys. Oh, we have a kitty visitor. Hi, Dresden. Dresden. Baby boy. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at you. You're so cute. Straight to the nose licking, huh? Thank you, little boy. Oh. I wish I wish I could figure out how to change my mic on the fly so you could actually hear his purring and his little chortles and stuff. I'll see if I can figure it out at some point because it's so cute. He's so cute. Isn't that right, Tristan? The mighty lion, yes. The mighty lion, the lion who is so sweet and so gentle. He's such a gentle cat. He really is. Like I'm not saying he doesn't eat insects or stuff like that, but he is such a sweetheart. Like he never attacks to like hurt on purpose. Like he's just so gentle. Like I can like rub his belly and he'll attack my hand, but like and he'll bite me, but he bites gently. He doesn't bite hard. Like his claws are so sharp that I still get scratched, but it's just by accident. He doesn't mean to. If I cut his claws, like just trim them, I wouldn't get scratched at all. Isn't that right, Tristan? Little nibbles? Yeah, no, seriously, I let him bite me all the time. He does not bite hard. You like having your belly rubbed, little boy? I know you do, but I know it also makes you want to attack it. Look at this little boy. Oh, so cute. What? What? Tristan. I wish I could paint with you in my hands. I would paint while holding you if I could, little boy. You might be falling asleep. I can't paint like this. I'm left-handed. I'm holding him with my left hand right now. This is my right. I can't paint like this. Okay, little boy, I'm gonna put you down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I have to put you down. Here, you can sit on my chair. This is so cute. Soft boy. I mean, in some ways, yeah. He's just sweet. But he likes to play. He likes to get into things. I was, of course, kidding, though. I do not have any dirt on Donnelly. I'm sure you all knew that already, but yeah. I almost forgot about putting this camera on. So I have a few YouTube videos I really want to make. Uh, I know I've said this in the past. I'm going to say it again, even though there's a chance I don't make them. But I'm I'm really going to try to actually make 2 YouTube videos this week. We'll see. We'll see if I can pull it off. Yeah, I really have a hard time making YouTube videos. I'm dyslexic and I'm not good at writing. Like when I go to write, my head just kind of goes blank, and I like all the things I could say in like a live stream like this just kind of disappear out of my head, and I struggle with that. But I really hope I can get my get myself together on this one. So we'll see. Isn't this a YouTube video? This is a YouTube live stream that turns into a YouTube VOD. It's not quite the same. What I may end up doing is we'll see. I may end up basically doing the YouTube video ideas that I have. I may end up doing them live in a like live stream, and in which case there's might be some live streams where I don't paint for a portion of them while I like just talk at the camera, trying to like put it together kind of thing. You said, no, I feel you though, getting a script written and organizing it in a format sounds daunting. Yeah, it is. Also, yeah, it is. So much, yeah, I struggle with so many aspects of it. It's fine though. Just whatever. You got this though, exciting. Yeah, we'll see. So one video is a very technical one. It's about making painting videos. I'm not going to get into it any more than that, but yeah. I think that one it's although very technical, I think it'll be one of those things that is like useful to a very small amount of people who want to do some of the things that I do kind of. Yeah, we'll see. Generally speaking, I try not to talk about like, oh, things I want to do in the future, because I feel like it robs me of the energy to do them. Because there's this feeling of like, if you talk about what you're going to do enough, it feels like a mental trick where you're like, oh, well, I talked about it so much that I kind of did it, even though you didn't. You just feel kind of like you did. So you're like over it. Like you've processed and worked through it. And so you're now over it, which is not real. But I do know that there's also a flip side to that where talking about it is like kind of making a promise to people. And so it, you know, it pushes you to do it because you've kind of built up the expectation for it. So we'll see which one this ends up being. Oh, in the meantime, I can talk about something. So this is a little weird because I'm going to talk about a YouTube video that I watched recently that I didn't finish watching. So there may be some inaccuracies to it because I didn't finish watching it. but it it doesn't entirely matter because I'm not critiquing the person really, so it's fine. And I'll link the video. One second, I'll link the video. Um, Here we go. So paste it in here. All right, so this is the video. Don Lee actually linked this to me. It's a video. It's a painter who he's talking about like color mixing and painting form and so on. And I'm not shitting on the guy. He is amazing. Like I was looking at his paintings. He is amazing. I hate the way he paints for the process. Like I would never want to paint in his process. Not that I hate the paintings he produces. I'm talking about like what the experience of painting like that is like. I hate that. But that's very much a personal thing. It has nothing that has nothing to do with the quality of his paintings. It has nothing to do with his skill. That's purely like, you know, like how, you know, it's like the difference between like, I don't know, it's just the process of doing it that's different. And so absolutely no comment on him in that way. Oh, you love this guy? You know this guy? Nice. Yeah, I haven't finished the video. I'm only, I think like, Laura says, I've been watching his videos. He's funny. That's great. Yeah, I'm like halfway through the video. I haven't seen the whole thing. The way he paints, where he like draws out the whole drawing first, and then of the like the drawing of the painting, he like draws out everything, and then he goes in and he goes in and he paints in all the you know, all the like the how can I put, sorry, I'm not phrasing this right. He draws everything out and then he goes in and paints, but he just like brings it to a finish right away. Like, but it's just a section. Like he'll start on the eye and he'll bring the eye to a finish and then he kind of like spreads out from there. And the way he applies paint is very what's the word I'm looking for? Very, very soft. Like he puts in this paint and he like mixes it all together constantly and moves it around. And he uses a round brush, which there's nothing wrong with using a round brush. I just don't like using round brushes for the most part. All this is to say that I don't like painting like that. I should see his video where he gives his assessment of the Florence School of Art he went to. Interesting. Kelly says he renders in sections and it's so effortless. Yeah. Well, he makes it seem effortless. Like I said, I don't like painting like that. Like the idea of painting in that manner is like very unappealing to me. And so he was talking about in this video, he's talking about the different ways of like rendering with color, right? And he's talking about that a lot of people start from the darks and then they go to the lights, but he prefers to start with the lights. And Laura says he took an hour and a half to paint a cheekbone. Yeah, I can see his process. I could imagine his process being slow. Like, it would not surprise me at all if his process is slow. His stuff's really good and very, very well rendered. But I don't agree with his, I don't necessarily agree with his assessment of like how to mix color and paint. Like, don't get me wrong, there's no rules on this. Do whatever works for you. Like, you know, I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. Like, do it, you know, whatever. If it works, it works. Who cares? It's not that. But there is a bit of a mistake. Well, like I said, maybe he mentions this. So if he mentions this, he mentions it. This isn't a criticism of his video, regardless. But there's the reason that a lot of people start with the shadows in oil painting specifically, and then render out to the lights is for there's numerous reasons for that. For one, if you a lot of the darker pigments tend to be more transparent. White, the titanium white is extremely opaque. So it makes a lot of sense that you would start with the darks, you know, and then build on top of that, because the whites can cover the darks. The white colors, like white in itself, can cover your darker colors. So it kind of makes sense. The other reason is because usually you want the lighter things coming, you know, more towards the viewer. And in oil painting, a lot of people use impasto. And when using impasto, it's, you know, putting down thick paint that comes closer to you. Well, when you're, let's say, painting a person or an object of some sort, like darks, especially like deep shadows, we tend to not, because we can't see in them, they feel to us like voids, right? Like if there's this something black that's like a, you know, like the blackest black, you know, it feels like a void. It doesn't feel like something that's coming to you, right? So do you want to have impasto in the darks, or do you want to have impasto in the lights? Obviously you want to have impasto in the lights, right? It makes sense. And I'm not saying you can do whatever you want. Painting is great. You can literally do whatever you want, and if you can make it work, like, it'll be, you know, you can make amazing things. These are just like general guidelines and like general thoughts on things. I don't do a lot of this stuff either. You know, first of all, I don't usually go super dark in my stuff. And then I also use very opaque black paint. So I can actually cover my lights pretty well too. So yeah, but those are some of the reasons that in oil paint, people start off with darks and paint from dark to light. The other reason too is what people will do is they'll paint in all the darks with a single color, even if it's not the right color necessarily. It's just kind of like their dark color for laying in a photo, for a painting. I mean, not a photo. And so when they do that, they group everything together, and that creates a solid form to work from. You can group other things, but it's harder. And we naturally group, like if you look at a bunch of things that are kind of like the same darkness, or, you know, and you squint, they all kind of merge together. Now anything that's close in value will merge together, but darks do it more. Also, obviously we see less inside the, you know, shadows. So that's why it all kind of merges together more. Anyways, like I said, maybe he touches on that in the video. It doesn't matter. It's true. if he touches on it or if he doesn't. He's also trying to demo how he likes to paint, which he likes to start in the lights more, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't start in the darks necessarily anymore. Um, I kind of I kind of just go all over the place. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it because you know I have to talk about something while I paint. He seems more minimalist in his palette, very reserved chroma. Interesting. I'll have to check out more of his stuff. He's really good. Like I said, I can't. I'm not knocking the guy. I saw his paintings. I saw some of his paintings that he was demoing, and I was just like, damn, that like the way he just paints out the face like is crazy. I don't know how you paint start to finish like that. Like I don't paint like that clearly. Um, you know, but it's all good. I don't agree. There is another thing he said that I don't entirely agree with. He was talking about like when you there are some painters who jump around from spot to spot, and that's they don't. If they do, they're not as focused on form, and I disagree with that as well. He uses tiny brushes, dab, dab, dab. Oh, that's right. That's a good point. Yeah, he uses very, very tiny brushes in comparison to what he's painting. I don't. I learned the opposite. Every teacher I've ever had has always said to use bigger and bigger brushes. They're like, the idea is to use the biggest brush you can possibly use to do the painting. Um, Even this brush right now this is a number 4. This is a 9 by 12. This is not a big painting. And even this one right now is like too small for like I would use this one for the detail and for certain things, of course, but I have a different brush I would rather use, but because this one's dirty and the other one's being soaked and so on, I'm just using it. So yeah. Laura says, "Oh, net fail? What do you mean net fail? Did the internet cut out? Or do you mean that he uses small brushes? YouTube stream frozen? Oh shit. Is it still frozen? Elijah says big brushes are nice for filling in spaces. Sometimes I feel I'm going insane using a small brush to fill in stuff. Oh, it's back. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, every teacher I had is always like they always talk about using the biggest brush you can. It's not just because it fills in spaces easier. Um, the advantage of using a big brush too is there's a few other advantages. It forces you to think about things. Um, it also forces you to not be very, what's the word I'm looking for? It forces you to be decisive about things. It also creates a lot more unity in your painting and structure in general. Um, you don't, there's a term that a lot of painters use, which is noodling, right? You don't like noodle away at it, at the painting as much. Um, so yeah, you know, Okay, the stream is all good. Good. Kelly says, I feel I'm currently noodling. You know, it's easy to fall into that. Like, it really is. But try to recognize when you're noodling away and stop, because it's not. I don't know that I've ever had a painting be successful from noodling away at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things I don't think actually benefits a painting in any way. Actually, that kind of touches on a different subject in a way, and I'll explain. Um, a lot of people, I've had this question asked numerous times, and I've heard it asked to other people as well. Um, how do you know when a painting is finished? This applies to drawings as well. Um, how do you know when a painting or drawing is finished? And I have a really well, I think I have a good answer for this. Aside from the old, it's done when the deadline, when the deadline's due. Aside from that, the jokey answer. But the real answer is I know when a painting's done when I look at the painting. Well, obviously, if I'm tired of working on it, there's that too. But if you're asking me like, how do I know if it's done or if I need to keep working on it? It's real simple. Do I see any issues I want to correct on the painting? And this is the most important part. Do I know how to improve the painting anymore? When I look at the painting, do I know how to make it better? Do I know how to fix the things that I have an issue with? Because even if I see an issue, if I don't know how to fix it, there's no point in me addressing it. At least not in the painting. Like there's a like study, use it as a as a way of like learning more about painting, use it as a ask people, like do experiments on a different digitally or whatever. Like, yeah, great, all good, like do all that stuff. But as far as the painting's concerned, yeah, if you can't if you don't know how to improve it, if you don't know how to change it to make it better, uh don't. And so sometimes I've had this years ago. Usually I know how to fix things, but I've had it where I've had a painting and I look at it or a drawing and I'm like, something's wrong with this, but I don't know what. Like, I've had that in the past where I did a drawing and I'm like, something's wrong in the eyes of this character, but I don't know what, and I don't know how to like fix it. I just know it's not right. I was right, the eyes weren't right. But if without knowing how to fix it, why even bother? Like, I can't, I'm just gonna like make attempt after attempt and flail around. That's not a good way. But like I said, you can also take with today's digital tools, you can take a failed attempt or a painting. A failed attempt might be a harsh way of looking at it. You can take a painting that needs some work and you can load it into the computer and be like, all right, let me figure this out. what is wrong? Like, why is this not working? I know it's this area, but like, what about this area needs to be fixed? And you can experiment with it, you know? If you don't want to do it digitally, you can do it in other ways too. Like you can do a mock-up on a separate piece of paper. People do stuff like that all the time. You know, thumbnails. This is great. Like now you're going to learn something if you can figure it out. Or you can ask people. A lot of times other people can give you very clear cut, you know, decisive answers on things. And you can grow from that too. The thing is, I want to paint like a waddle in my digital pieces, but my proportions are off. So I'm always tweaking. Yeah, okay. I don't know who Waddle is off the top of my head. I probably know who that is. I just can't remember at the moment. Um, this is actually great. Okay, so, well, obviously it's not great for you. I'm sure you find it very frustrating, but this is a great point. So you have an issue in your painting that you've identified that's very clear, right? You have an issue with your proportions. That's a problem that keeps coming up. Uh, why don't you work on that? And I don't mean that to be mean. I don't mean that in a fascist. I can't say that word right now. Uh, what I mean is do some exercises that are specifically only designed to target your proportions. Like just that, nothing else. That's all you're working on. Oh, the guy from the video I posted? Okay, that's his name. Got it. Sorry. Bad with names. Just, you know, that's the thing I think that people don't do enough. If you do some exercises that are like targeted and focused on a particular issue you're having, you will get so much better so quickly at that particular thing. It will be crazy. Like you could improve your proportions, your ability to hit proportions, uh, like I don't know how to quantify this, but it would be a drastic difference in very little time. So, okay, I'll talk about this in general right now. Hold on a second. Let me see real quick. Okay, so I'm going to talk a bit about improving art skills, okay? So I heard you know, when making art, I heard referred to as like there are the hard skills, which are ironically the easier ones, and then the soft skills, which are the harder ones. And what that means is like getting your proportions right, learning anatomy, learning how to mix paint, learning how to put the paint on the canvas. Those are all your hard skills, and those are all actually easier to learn at the end of the day than like creativity and making art, whatever the hell that means. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I've heard it referred to that way. But yeah, having said that, uh, I do want to talk about improving your hard skills. There are some things you can do to improve those skills. Uh, I think it's referred to as deliberate practice. I think is the term used for it. But the idea is to do practice on whatever you have an issue with, and to focus it down to the smallest kind of bit you can, right? So if you have a problem with proportions, practice only doing your proportions. Don't worry about the rest of the painting. Just do exercises that focus on that and that give you immediate feedback. So if you have a problem matching colors, do some exercises where you match colors and you also immediately get the feedback whether or not you did it right. Uh, there's all kinds of ways you can structure this. I'm giving the general idea right now because there's so many options out there. There's no one way of doing this. But the bottom line is um, you want to practice the smallest kind of application of the issue, and you want quick and immediate feedback on everything. And if you do that, you will improve drastically very quickly. Um, so, to give an example, if you're having a hard time matching colors, let's say, because that's something that people talk about, right? Well, okay, you could do exercises to match colors, but you can break it down into even smaller segments, right? And what I mean by that is before you match colors, you can match values. You can do just black and white matching, right? After you do black and white matching, you can then do matching colors, the value of colors to black and white, which is something people struggle with a lot, by the way, just FYI. That is something that people really have a hard time with because color really messes with our perception of value. Um, and then you can do exercises to match colors to color if you want. You don't, obviously you don't have to break it down that much, but you can. Um, if you have trouble with proportions, you can do exercises to work on your proportion, but proportions can incorporate a lot of things. So what exercises do you do? Well, it depends on what your issue is, but if you're having issues with a lot of aspects of it, break it down. Do exercises just in placements. So you have a photo reference and you have your the just try and draw everything in the place where everything is located in the photo, you know, uh, as an exercise. Don't worry about, all the details, just basic block forms. This person's here, this thing's here, this thing is here, this line crosses here, stuff like that. Like very, very basic, very quick. That's the other thing. It's very quick to do these things. They don't take a long time. All these exercises are very small, so they're very quick. You can burn through a bunch of them real fast. If your problem is proportion with the human figure, do it with people with anatomy. If the problem is doing it from your head, start with photos. Then try and do it from photos without looking at the photo. Then do it from your head. You know what I'm saying? Like you slice it down into its little elements and you build it from there. Thanks for sharing this. I need to hear this. Getting specific to exercises like this is really good. I'm gonna start doing this for everything. I will say I think it's a really beneficial thing. And this isn't I didn't come up with any of this. I read a book called Peak Performance. This guy who did all these studies about like people who perform at very high levels at different things and so on. It was very interesting. It was unfortunately, the book is very boring in how it's written. I hate to say it, the author, he's He's a what's it called? I don't know if a scientist is the right word, but yeah, he studies these things. So he wrote a very dry book, and he also narrated it himself, I think, and he's very dry. So it's not the most interesting read, unfortunately. But it's a very good read. Like there's a lot of useful information in it. Um, and he brought up an example that I think is such a great like illustration of this, which is uh, football players, right? Like football players obviously do practice playing, uh, you know, playing games, but they don't spend all their time practicing playing games. They do a bunch of practices on little elements, right? Like they practice their runs, then they practice their throws. They're breaking it into elements so they don't have to do start to finish the whole thing. And if you think about it, right? Like if I'm doing a painting, right? And I mean these paintings are small, but if I and they still take a while, and if I was doing a bigger painting, it'd take even longer. By the time I get to the end of the painting, how am I going to know which step I was like was the step in that whole process that I messed up at and that caused everything to mess up? Now, I'm not saying you can't know that at all ever. Of course you can, but like there's a lot of steps there. And then, you know, if it takes me, let's say 20 hours to do a painting, next time I want to work on something that happens in the very beginning, I'm now 20 hours after the thing I did in the beginning. I'm barely going to remember it, right? So, yeah, it's very helpful to kind of just focus, do exercises that focus on individual elements. Anyways, I remember when I was, one second. Shit, I just clicked something. Okay. I remember when I was in art school and I was learning how to use charcoal because we did a lot of figure drawing and a lot of like sketches, and we used Conti charcoal pencils and what's it called? And we used oh, what are they called? Oh, newsprint. That's it. Conti charcoal pencils and newsprint, right? Like that's how we did a lot of practice because it's cheap and it's kind of like painting, but it's drawing. It's just one of those things, right? But like I did not have control over I did not have good control over the charcoal pencils in the beginning, right? Like they're if you're not used to them, they are unwieldy. You can't sharpen them. You have to use a razor blade to whittle them down and sandpaper to shape them, right? You're using the side of them for 90% of the drawing, and you're not holding it like this, but you're holding it like this, right? At like an angle kind of thing. It is it's a lot. And if you're not familiar with it's a lot. So I had to do like all these exercises at home. Like my teacher told me, he's like, all right, practice your, practice your straights, practice your C curves, practice your S curves, and practice the S curves in different directions. And then, and then it was, all right, now do a, like draw a square and fill the square in with like a smooth tone where you can't see the like strokes from every single, mark. And then it was, okay, now do the same thing, but make it a gradient from top to bottom, from bottom to top, and so on. Like that's the kind of things I did at school. I don't know. It's not what I would call fun, but it's useful. Miriam paints also. Check her out. Okay. What does she do? Ooh, gradients. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy to like when you're not used to it, it's not easy to do. Don't get me wrong, it's not that hard. Like a little bit of practice and you can, unless you have some kind of fine motor skill issue, it's not going to be a problem for anybody to get a hang of. But you have to put in a little bit of time and effort, kind of what it comes down to, right? It's just you have to put in some effort and practice. This is wrong right here. I think's better. His paintings are really cool. Okay. Miriam paints. I'm trying to remember that. Who's self-taught or YouTube taught, was a photographer by trade. Oh, that's cool. If someone can send me the link, that'd be great, or post it on a Discord or something. That'd be great. I'll check it out. Yeah, it's really cool. You can now with YouTube and everything, you can learn and get really good at art on your own. And you could always get good at art on your own, but it's a lot easier now than it ever was before, which is so funny to me because uh, recently artists have been accused of being gatekeepers, and I'm like, oh, come on, people. Artists give away their quote unquote secrets all the time on YouTube. You can learn almost any artistic style or um, art technique. There's almost no art technique you can't learn on YouTube. Oh, thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. And that's fabulous. I think that's great. Laura says, I didn't go to art school. I asked my high school art teacher if I was good enough, and she said, do you think you're good enough? And left me with that. Fucking teachers. Some teachers suck. Some people just enjoy tearing other people down. And sometimes they think they're doing it for their own good, but like, fuck off. No, it's not. Here's the thing. It's not deep. I'm sorry. I am going to argue and push back on that, Elijah. It is not deep. It is asshole. That's what that is. Because here's the reality. Okay. In a philosophical, like, bullshit way, maybe you could think of it as being deep. But the reality is that people, especially artists, right, have so many people pushing back and telling them all kinds of things. Wait, was that negative or positive? That's the thing. I think it's up to interpretation, right? I think the idea is that, like, maybe I'm wrong, Laura. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the idea was like, whether you think you can or can't, you're right. It's that kind of thought process, right? So it's like, if you think you can, whether or not, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And it's like, no, fuck off. That's stupid, because people aren't blank slates. People have all kinds of things put on them. And as they grow up, they can change and get out of that. That's like saying that, a cup is half full or half empty, depending on how you look at it. And it's like that from the moment you're a child until you die. It's like your perception of things can change. So just putting that on someone is so shitty. Like, I'm not saying that you don't have to work hard to get those things. Obviously, you're going to have to work hard, but some people need encouragement. Some people need discouragement. It changes. It's not the same for everybody. So just trying to be like all deep and stoic about it or whatever is just bullshit. Like, there's been so many people told they can't do things, and that spurs them on. But there's other people who are told they can't do things, and it discourages them, and they don't. Then they have someone tell them that they can, and they succeed wildly in that thing. Like, that has happened. So it is very frustrating to have a teacher, someone that you're putting your trust in, uh, do that to someone. Or it says, my best friend in high school is the creative right brain sort of artist. She could do things I can't. I was left brain logic, precise, etc. We were different. So that's fine. There's no one way of doing it. And there's no right way. Anyways, so you considered her the better artist, yet she sent me a message the other day saying I was such a good artist. It doesn't even matter though. That's the thing. Like, no offense, and that's really cool, but like, it doesn't even matter, right? Like, I look back at the art I made when I was in art school or trying to be a comic book artist, and I'm like, yeah, no wonder I struggled to make it into comics. Like, I wasn't that good, right? I thought I was better than I was. Um, and I wasn't that good at the time. I've got, like, it's taken years and years and years to get better. And I probably could have gotten a lot better. under different circumstances a lot faster, but whatever, life is what it is, right? But and certain people will do it a lot faster than I did, and others will be even slower than me. There's, if at all, like it just depends. There's, but so what? Like if you weren't good in high school, it doesn't mean anything. Like you could have been the worst artist in high school and it still wouldn't have meant anything. Like honestly, y- yeah, like you could have been the worst painter or artist in high school. You still could be a great artist, after. Like it doesn't mean anything, right? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. She went to art school though because she was encouraged because of the creative aspect. Yeah, exactly. And because she was encouraged, she actually pursued it, whereas, and went to art school. Whereas apparently it sounds like you didn't, and that really sucks. And I mean, obviously you're pursuing art now, or you've continued to pursue it, which is great. And this is another thing I do also want to mention. You don't need to be a professional artist to be an artist. That is something I really want to drive home to people watching. Anybody who ever is like concerned about, you don't need to be a professional artist to be a real, quote unquote, real artist. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great aspects of being a professional artist, um, in regards to like just being an artist. Like, but you know, it's not what you dream about. Like, unless you're independently wealthy, it's not the like, the dream of being an artist. Like you have to, there's so much work that goes into it. But theoretically, you can spend more time making art if you are an artist that does that for work. Having said that, it also does take the fun out of it a little because your hobby or your creativity or the thing you love more than anything else becomes a job. So there is that aspect of things, but that's all like the trappings of it. That aside, you don't have to be a professional artist to make art. Everyone can do it at any time. Like just, and it's also just for the enjoyment of doing it. Like, I hate that people are so like, oh, well, if you can't make money from it, what's the point? I don't know. The point is to do it. How many people go play basketball who aren't in the NBA? Like, I'm sorry, what? You can go play basketball, if you can go kayaking, if you can go hiking, and you're not a professional at those things, you can make art and not be a professional at it. So, sorry, that was my little rant. I find it so frustrating. People are so like focused only on one aspect of it. Like, oh, are you an artist? That means you do it for a living, right? Oh, you don't? Oh, then you're just a broke artist, a broke, starving artist, and no one cares about you. Like, all right. Uh, Kelly says, yeah, being able to make and create is great. Just the act of doing it is a great thing. Absolutely. I think people should enjoy it and not look at it as like, oh, I have to be able to make a living out of this or it's not real. Like, I used to play a role-playing game. It wasn't D&D specifically, but it's like D&D. I enjoyed that a lot. I never thought I'm not really playing role playing because I'm not really playing a tabletop role playing game because I'm not getting paid for this. So, I'm not a professional at this. If I'm not a professional at this, like, why even bother, right? Because I mean, really, if I'm not getting paid, what's the point? You know what I mean? That's never a thought I had. I play video games for fun. I don't play them because I'm going to be a pro. Laura says, I am home on disability. What else am I going to do? Waste my time or do something I enjoy while I have the time to do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello. Yeah. Why? What's up? What time do they close? You kind of might need to look that up. Okay. I think I need to adjust the zoom a little for this painting. I think it might be too zoomed in. What do you think? Is this too zoomed in over here? Yep, it's too zoomed in. Okay, I'll zoom out. Doing something you enjoy can learn from is the best. Yeah, absolutely. They close at midnight? Okay. I'll finish in like 15-ish minutes, probably. Thank you. Oh, you said yep. Got it, Elijah. You said yep to Laura. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's good to zoom out as well. Laura, Michelle says she's sorry you're on disability. It's a pain in the ass.
Is this new?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this new?
I mean, from tonight.
Okay. I just meant it wasn't sitting here for hours.
Don't do that, Michelle. Because you're getting it dirty.
I'm not getting dirty.
No, they're not. No, they're not. She's playing with my kneaded eraser, and I'm telling her not to play with my kneaded eraser. It doesn't matter how clean you think your hands are.
You're dirty. You need a bath.
Stop playing with my kneaded eraser. Go. Like, you don't have to be here.
I'm here to show you support.
You're not.
To give you, yes, fine. Everything good. Pretty.
I appreciate
And
that.
then I was trying to look preference. And Laura, it is Play-Doh. Thank you.
It is not Play-Doh.
It's
It
Play-Doh.
is not.
Look,
It's
he even
not
says
silly.
it's silly
It
putty.
is not. I
It
know.
feels like it.
Two things can feel similar and not be the
But I
same.
want to play with it.
Yeah, but you're ruining it.
I'm
But
not ruining it. He says to stick it to the ceiling. You think it'll work?
no, do not do that. It will leave a stain.
Shit. I just want to play with it. It's perfect.
You want a fidget toy? Is that what you're saying?
No, my nails want to touch things.
Mm-hmm. We got our nails done today.
I was trying to show the camera, but I don't know.
No. The camera follows my face.
I know it does. You have such a pretty face too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll stop. Have fun.
Kelly says pretty nails. She left. Actually, kneaded erasers cause nails to crack and shatter. That's funny. Maybe that'll protect the eraser. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, spreading misinformation. It can, however, this can happen. It can get underneath your nails. That's really annoying. So here's an example of my brush being too small. Right? Like I'm trying to put in the darks here on the leg. And if I had a bigger brush, I wouldn't have to do, all these little marks, repeated marks. I could just go in with a big brush and blop, blop, and just get it done. And that would be honestly better, at least in this stage. Like, yeah, towards the end, I probably would be using a brush this size anyways. But, I'm talking about like at this stage of the painting. Like I said, I'm using this size brush for very stupid reasons. Kelly says I literally can't use kneaded erasers unless I'm going to have a dry hand day. I always got lotion on. It would get nasty. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that lotion and a kneaded eraser is not a good combination. Stupid is just intuitively diverse. No. No, it's just laziness. It's sheer laziness at this point. So, uh I have the brushes that I've been using recently soaking because I neglected them and they're all like crusty and stiff. So I'm soaking them right now in some cleaner and I need to wash them, see if I can revive any of them so I don't have to throw them away. Um, I have other brushes. Those aren't the only brushes I have, but I would have to get a new brush and get a new brush dirty. Um, so instead of doing that, I'm just using the brush I currently have that is currently dirty. That's why I said it's stupid because it's just laziness. That's all. So it's laziness, and also I think I also think maybe I could say with some degree of like self confidence that it's also just you know like when you get used to doing something at a certain stage, you can do things a little wrong and still make up for it, kind of. But it's not ideal. It's not like ideally I just get over it, go grab a new brush and just do that. I will also say that these current brushes that I'm using are not the I'll say they're not the most expensive brushes and they're also not the uh you know I don't want to say that they're bad quality because they're not, but they're not the most expensive brushes, right? So yeah. Like I said, I don't think that necessarily means that they're bad quality, but you know, they're probably not top tier quality, realistically speaking. The truth is, though, you can make amazing artwork with simple tools. You don't need the best of the best to make amazing things, right? There are a ton of artists out there in the past and a ton of artists today who don't have access to the best of the best, either because of financial reasons or geolocation reasons or whatever, and they still can make amazing art. So it's worth mentioning that. Anyways, but yeah, I'm probably gonna end stream soon. Elle wants me to go with her to pick up something to eat, some uh, late night dinner. Laura says, "Yeah, I'm so tired. 3 hours sleep last night, a workout, and then visiting my cousin today. I'd hoped to paint, but I didn't get to it. That's fair. It's understandable. But at least you worked out. I need that is one of the things I want to get back into, and I have not. Have not. So you know, I am impressed with everybody who works out. I think it's amazing and good job. Congratulations. Like, legitimately. Kelly says, "Yeah, I don't need the best stuff to make amazing art. Making do and using what you got to the best of your ability can take you far. You've seen amazing drawings with uh, Crayola pencils. Yeah. All right. All right. I'm gonna be calling it a day now. I'm gonna do it just end up. Anyways, the painting went well today. A little slow. I was tired. Like I said, a rough day. But it went well. I think I've started to model the figure pretty nicely. Like you can see, all the structure of her back. It's very satisfying to do that. So yeah, I'll call it a day. I am streaming again on Wednesday. So I will be back Wednesday night and then Sunday day as planned. Thank you everybody for stopping by. Laura, Elijah, thank you so much for all the conversation. Don Lee, thank you very much. And I will head out.